who is driving digital transformation in this decade. Users have moved out of offices, applications have moved to cloud, but what about security defenses? Are they ready to deal with this perimeterless era? Everyone thought it's probably going to take a long time to move security into cloud, but the future is now. Welcome to Future Now Talks, Sudhir.
Thank you.
Tell us more about perimeterless era.
Thank you, Khadija, for having me on this show in the Future Now Talks. See, traditionally, users have been accessing corporate resources from the confines of their secure offices, or in other words, secure perimeter of their businesses. Applications predominantly were hosted within the customer's data center. So a perimeter security strategy was good at that point in time. But in reality, situation is completely different. Today, we are witnessing digital transformation, I would say, on steroids, right, with the pandemic. So an old castle and moat kind of a setup is not relevant anymore. This is why the perimeterless era is being talked about a lot today. We are living in an era where users are outside the offices. They are wanting to access resources from everywhere at any point in time. Data or corporate data is no more within the customer data center. It has moved to the cloud. Applications have moved to SaaS. Public clouds like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud are gaining prominence. And the old style of perimeter security is not relevant at all in today's time and age. So in a nutshell, during this time, the conversation has to be focused on what we call a perimeterless era. If you ask a cybersecurity marketer, this for me is actually a massive opportunity.
Why should organizations in the region bother about perimeterless era?
I think it's a very interesting question. With the increasing adoption of cloud and an increased work from home, legacy defenses that we call perimeter security is failing. Even though this region was slow to adopt to the cloud, over the last 16 to 18 months, I think we are seeing a hockey stick. There is a huge adoption curve. I can give you a few statistics to prove that as well. From a cloud adoption perspective, it is said that 50% of the applications have moved to the cloud. From a work from home perspective, it is said that 90% of the users are on mobile when they access corporate resources. And of them, close to 50% are off the network all the time. This is a huge challenge for a chief information security officer. And if you look at the traffic today, 80% of the traffic that we see are SaaS-based traffic. So without a visibility, it's extremely challenging for the cybersecurity team. It's also fair to say that VPNs are no longer the technology or the right choice for the customers. Over the last 18 months or so, we have seen significant increase in attacks towards VPN. A recent study said that there was an 800% increase in VPN attacks over the last year. It's also said that in 2020, every month we witness at least one attack or a vulnerability to leading VPN technologies. If my memory is right, recently, 3 weeks ago, one of the leading VPN vendors had a vulnerability that was identified. So customers are complaining about lack of end-to-end visibility. When we have conversations here with mature customers, this is exactly what they're positioning and talking to us about. They have a huge challenge about going with the perimeter-based defenses in this new era.
So Sudhir, what's the solution then? As it's impossible to move everything to the cloud, what's the right strategy for it?
Thank you, Khadija. In fact, a rip and replace strategy is not the right thing to do. So what we need to look at is consolidate security in the cloud. Gartner calls it SaaS-E, which stands for Secure Access Service Edge. Forrester has named it ZTE, which stands for Zero Trust Edge. The objective is to consolidate all security solutions into the cloud so that they're made available for everyone from anywhere. This is a fundamental shift from the perimeter to the perimeterless era. We always recommend an approach to secure the identity of the user, the applications, and the data. That's a strategy. From a transition perspective, it's impossible to rip everything that you've spent money on and just change it to the cloud. That's not the right strategy. So SASE is about consolidating technologies like next generation secure web gateway, zero trust network access from the cloud, or what we call private access, getting visibility to the applications in SaaS, what we call CASB, your security posture, firewall as a service delivered from the cloud. This is what we call the consolidation of SaaS-E. What subject matter experts suggest is, based on the estate that you already possess, you have to go through a maturity curve. It's not about buying the best of the breed technologies and trying to integrate them together. What an expert in cybersecurity will look at is, what is your current estate? Are you a Microsoft estate? Have you invested heavily in O365? Or are all your applications on AWS? Or are you an on-prem vendor? Is all your technology on-prem? Based on that, they will suggest what is the first most shift that you need to make into SASE. It's a journey. You cannot just switch on and switch off on day one. It has to go through a maturity curve. When it comes to HelpAG SASE journey, it started quite a while ago. Last year, we released our first entry into SASE called HPA, which stands for HelpAG Private Access. It's a zero trust network access solution, which actually helped customers or users move securely to the cloud. This year, we launched our flagship service called CyberEdgeX, which is our SASE proposition to the market.
So Sudhir, how to make this less complex for organizations?
You know, when digital transformation is on steroids, the challenges from a threat landscape and a market landscape is very, very shifty. But the fundamental challenges that the customer has remain the same, which is people, process, and technology choices. These are the fundamental challenges that we have. So what we think as a thought leader in cybersecurity is to make it easier for the customer. Somebody has to take them through the journey. With HelpAG's 360-degree cybersecurity capabilities, this is exactly what we do. Our analysis and consulting team works very closely with the customer to analyze what their current estate is, and then define what we call is the to-be state. And to reach the to-be state, our pre-sales architect architects the right solutions, and our integration, or what we call professional services team, use that tide over or change or transition the customer through the integration. Our operations team then handholds them through the process, because the biggest challenge for the customer on new age technology is the lack of resources. That's where we have made continuous investments in the right set of technologies and the right set of skilled resources to help customers through this transition. And as I said in my previous question, it's not a toggle switch. It's not a switch on, switch off situation. You have to go through the journey. And finally, what the customer requires is predictability and the user experience to be good, right? So when we build services, we are able to deliver OpEx models to the customer, so that customer do not have to heavily invest in capital expenditure. They can just enjoy the benefits of SASE through what we call security as a service, fully delivered from an in-country cloud.
What would you like to preserve now for the future?
As a cybersecurity marketer and a product specialist, what I would like to preserve is what we call the service-oriented model, and I will tell you why. For me, cybersecurity is about delivering it like clean water. So if the service provider can guarantee that you are providing you secure connectivity, that's something that I would like to preserve. So the customer knows what is being secured, at what price, and 24/7. This is what I would like to preserve for the future.
And what would you want to bring from the future to security now?
That's a very interesting question. In fact, what I would like to bring from future is about the concept of what we call true security as a service, where customer has got a predictable model which is built on an in-country infrastructure. Because one of the challenges that customers today have is about being compliant to local data regulations. So from a unified platform that is sitting within the country, if you're able to serve the needs of the customer, that is something that I would like to bring from the future of security. And also, where it gives a single pane of glass visibility across all stakeholders, not just the CISO, but the CIO, the business heads, where you get an outside in and an inside out approach to cybersecurity. And I would also like to have convergence where OT, IT, IoT, and cloud is fully converged. That's what I would like to bring from the future.
Thank you, Sudhir. At Future Now, we bring the latest technologies and solutions, where we collaborate with scale-ups, customers, and IT developers. And Future Now Talks is all about that. Stay tuned.